Well, the snow is coming down heavily as we look at Penn's Landing in Philadelphia live on Sky 6. Great picture there, but it's still not nearly as forceful as it will be in the morning and through the day tomorrow. But let's begin our tour of the region first with Action News reporter Walter Perez on South Broad Street in Center City. Walter, what about the snow emergency in the city now in effect?
Well, Jim, that declaration went into effect at 9 o'clock tonight. Meanwhile, we'll give you a live look right here at Broad Street, south of City Hall. As you can see, it's snowy and windy, but really just a prelude of things to come. This is a snow emergency route, so any parked cars along this stretch can and will be towed at any time. All this also means many of us here in the Delaware Valley are prepared to shelter in place until this storm blows through. What you'll often notice after a snow emergency declaration is fewer people on the local roads and more people in the local supermarkets. Plenty of folks in the local state store as well.
I guess people are bunkering down for what they know is coming.
And a little wine helps.
It keeps you warm.
But many of the restaurants across the region do not see this as a laughing matter. Officials from Bridget Foy's down on South Street say, simply put, snow is bad for business.
This is like the snowmageddon, so I think people are really skeptical about leaving their homes at least. I mean, if you look outside, there's not that much there. It feels like there's like 3 feet of snow on the ground right now because there's clearly not a lot of people in here.
The upside is that means many of us are heeding the warnings and preparing for a nasty shot of winter weather. The city's Emergency Operations Center is already activated on a limited basis. The EOC goes into full effect at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. And with the snow emergency now in place, all cars parked on snow emergency routes in Philadelphia will be towed by the parking authority. And getting your car back will cost you up to $125. That's why parking authority officials are trying hard to get the word out before the tow trucks reach your vehicle.
But what I would like to stress, we don't want to tow your car. We don't want to write you a ticket. What we really want people to do is cooperate, move their cars so no one gets towed. It makes everyone's job easier.
All right, back out live. Parking authority garages are only charging $5 during the snow emergency. Also, if your vehicle does get towed, you can find out where to retrieve it by calling 215-686-SNOW. Of course, all that information can be found on 6abc.com. Reporting live from Center City, Walter Perez, Channel 6 Action News. Jim?
Thank you, Walter. Talking about touring the area, Mobile 6 is on the go tonight. It is currently northbound on the Roosevelt Boulevard extension. It was following that plow truck in its wake. I hope you're not intending to pass that plow truck, guys. Be conservative driving in that snow. Obviously, very tough conditions on the northbound Roosevelt Boulevard extension right now. PennDOT officials are urging everyone to stay off the roads. Throughout the weekend, PennDOT trucks will be spreading salt over 40,000 miles of highways. Officials say they have 4,000 employees across the state that will be working 12-hour shifts.
The more traffic a roadway has, the more attention it will receive from plows.
PennDOT has reduced the speed limit on highways to 45 miles an hour. Officials say if you have to drive, do not pass the plow trucks. We'll say that again, and allow at least 10 car lengths behind them. You hear that, Mobile 6? The blizzard will bring operations at Philadelphia International Airport to a standstill. All flights in and out of Philadelphia are canceled tomorrow. Nationwide, more than 6,000 flights will be out of service. Airlines hope to be back in full schedule by Sunday afternoon. SEPTA is suspending most of its service starting at 4 o'clock tomorrow morning. Only the Broad Street and Market Frankford lines will be running. Amtrak will operate with few trains on a modified schedule. New Jersey Transit is suspending buses and trains beginning at 2 in the morning. And in Delaware, DART buses are out of service tomorrow. Governor Chris Christie returned to New Jersey tonight from the presidential campaign trail. About 2 hours ago, he declared a state of emergency.
But we have certainly concerns about beach erosion. I'm not all that concerned. I think we'll have some street flooding at the shore, but I don't think we'll have anything much more than that.
New Jersey is bracing for up to 24 inches of snow, and there are a lot of people at the shore who are concerned the situation could get a lot worse than being described by the governor. Coastal flooding is the concern. There are also worries that fierce winds will down trees and wires, causing major power outages. Action News reporter Jeff Cherico is live in Margate tonight. And Jeff, there's a lot of concern at the shore, and with good reason.
And Jim, did you say fierce winds? The winds are gusting and they are fierce right now and only expected to get worse. Take a look. If you look up above me, you can actually perhaps see the wind as it pushes the snow sideways right there in the light. Now, this is what's happening tonight, about an inch or so on the ground here on Atlantic Avenue in Margate. But the real issue, the real concern is tomorrow morning with the high tides and the expectation of some flooding. As the storm moved in, the wind picked up and snow quickly covered roadways in Longport. The blanket of white, not a problem for warmly dressed Zeppi. It's what else the storm brings that concerns his pal Vince.
I think it's going to miss us here.
Yeah.
You know, it'll turn to rain and we have to worry about the flooding.
Predictions of coastal flooding prompted officials to order a mandatory evacuation of residents in Barnegat who live between the municipal bathing beach and the East Bay Bridge. Expected rising waters during this weekend's tides have businesses piling sandbags. At the Ocean City Fire Department,
we have 5 storm vehicles in operation right now, 3 people movers, 2 pumpers.
Crews are ready to roll out their military-grade trucks to fight fires and evacuate residents if needed.
There's room for like 15, 20 people.
What are the chances that you think you're going to need this weekend?
We'll be needing them. The forecast is 2 feet lower than Sandy, which is a lot lower. So in the areas that are prone to flooding, we'll be using the vehicles, I'm sure.
Meanwhile, residents of this apartment building feet from the beach in Atlantic City aren't taking any chances and are moving to higher ground. Neighboring buildings were destroyed by
Bound on the Roosevelt Boulevard extension. As you can see, it is now approaching or over the Schuylkill River, and Mobile 6 is going to be headed eastbound on the Schuylkill Expressway to begin to check things out in Center City, Philadelphia. The roads not completely white, not completely snow-covered here on the extension. We'll see how things are on the Schuylkill Expressway in just a few moments. We are hearing it from governors, from mayors, from anyone who has responsibility for others. Stay off the roads while the storm barrels through the region. Unfortunately, some people are either ignoring that advice or they simply don't have a choice. Action News reporter Dan Quayer is live at the Newark Service Plaza on I-95 in Delaware. Dan, it goes without saying, but conditions are only going to get worse.
That's right, Jim. It's been coming down in sheets. We had a heavier band that moved in here about a half hour ago. Take a look behind me. It's been coming down straight for over 5 hours now here in Newark. And it's only increasing. DelDOT is reporting tonight that despite the best efforts of hundreds of workers operating more than 330 plows, the roads and bridges are becoming snow-covered. They're having a hard time keeping up with it all. Take a look here on the ground. You get an idea of what's happening here in Newark, Delaware. We've got a nice fluffy snow that's coming down. It's just increasing and increasing. Right now we have about 1.5 inches. It's going to get worse before it gets better.
The state of Delaware flag told a story as the storm made its way here at about 5:30.
But we know we're heading into it, so it's probably not going to be pretty coming up here.
How far are you going?
To Annapolis.
Wow. You're going to go right into the eye of the storm.
Unfortunately.
A lot of truckers were sitting this one out, bunkered down for the night in the Welcome Center parking lot, waiting to see what tomorrow brings. This as DelDOT crews were doing their best to keep I-95 operational. At the DelDOT South Yard in Newark, it was all hands on deck as they worked through the night to try and keep up with it.
You know, at some point during the storm, it's going to be too much to actually start, to keep salting, so it'll just be a completely mechanical operation at that point.
Meanwhile, some of the back roads were beginning to get a bit snowy as the storm hammered away.
Where are you coming from?
PA.
What's it like on the roads out there?
They're getting bad.
They're getting bad?
Yeah.
So it's time to get home as soon as you can.
As soon as you can.
I just got back from Pennsylvania. Yeah, and it was starting up really good there.
Yeah. So you're trying to get home before it really gets
yeah, absolutely.
Across Delaware, these scenes were typical as the snow kept coming down at a steady clip. Residents were doing their best to try to keep up with it, shoveling and brushing snow off sidewalks before they got too deep.
Looks like you got your work cut out for you here tonight.
Yeah.
And you're going to have a long day tomorrow, too.
Yeah.
You ready for it?
Somewhat.
Yeah, he didn't look too thrilled, and I got to say, I don't blame him one bit. Now, right now, Dale Dot reports that I-95 remains open, but the governor has declared a state of emergency, which means that if they deem it unsafe, it will be shut down. We're live here in Newark, Delaware. I'm Dan Cuellar, Channel 6, Action News.
Thank you, Dan. You know the expression, neither rain nor snow nor sleet.
Stop the
Well,
post.
not tomorrow. There will be no delivery of mail tomorrow in the Philadelphia, South Jersey, and Delaware post offices. Sometimes the blizzard just wins out.
Yes, and I think that's a good move. You know, the more people who can stay home, the better. A lot of first responders, shout out to them. They have to go to work. Nurses have to go to work. But if you can wait.
Well, not only that,
mail,
and keep those mail trucks off the road.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly. You know, that's key. You really do want to stay off the road because the storm is already pretty bad. It's going to get a lot worse overnight. Storm Tracker 6 live double scan showing that we do have one of those heavier bands right over us right now. You can see that pink over Philadelphia. It's working up to the north. Media right now, Westchester, and the snow is falling at the rate of up to an inch an hour with that. We've got another one developing, not quite as concentrated near Fortescue, it's Cumberland County. And I also want to point out, you can see this rain snow line that's getting closer. That is creeping to the coast, and that will be moving inland over the overnight hours and changing the snow to rain in Cape May. But I do want to go live on Cape May. This is Sky 6, and this shows that it's still snowing. And if you look, you can almost see how that snow is really being blown horizontally. The winds are cranking up. Wind gusts in Cape May, 32 miles an hour right now, and inland nearly as bad. Philadelphia and Wilmington and Dover, 31 miles per hour. And the wind speeds along the shore will pretty much double as we head through the day tomorrow. Now, the combination of temperatures in the 20s and the winds is another reason you don't want to be outside right now. The wind chills have already dropped into the single digits. Philadelphia feels like 8 degrees. That's why the snow is light and powdery. It'll get a little bit heavier as we head through the day tomorrow. Now, Satellite 6 along with Action Radar showing we've got kind of the feeder bands of the snow right now. The actual low pressure is south of Cape Lookout. You can see the streamlines. It's starting to get its act together, but it hasn't really bombed out yet. It hasn't really exploded, and that will happen around 3 o'clock in the morning, and then it continues to deepen. So Future Tracker showing this is when we really get the heaviest bands of snow with that deep purple. This is also when we get that rain getting closer. 9 o'clock in the morning, you wake up, there's about 10 inches of snow on the ground already, and we do have that mixing along the coast. 1:30, still we'll get an ebb and flow with the snow bands, and then finally Saturday night it begins to taper off to showers, snow showers, and then look at this, by Sunday morning, it's out of here. The sunshine is back, but we've got a lot to get through until then. So the height of the storm, about 12 hours, from 3 o'clock in the morning until 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Snow falling at the rate of 1 to 3 inches per hour. That snow is just thumping. Thunder snow possible, Philadelphia area south. It's not a crack, it's more of that deep rumble. Wind gusts 40 to 65 miles per hour. You shouldn't be traveling at all tomorrow, but if you have to, do not do it between 3 o'clock in the morning and 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That's when the visibility will be the worst. So expected snowfall. It's going to be a lot. Mount Pocono, you're missing out on most of the action, 3 to 6 inches. Cape May County, also 3 to 6 inches due to mixing. But the heart of the Philadelphia area, we're getting 18 to 24 inches. Philadelphia, Wilmington, Glassboro, Norristown, Downingtown, Reading, Quakertown, Trenton, Mount Holly, Millville, Hamilton, Smyrna. A little bit lower here, but still a foot to a foot and a half. So this is really a big storm. So as far as the flooding, major to moderate flooding, these are the times of high tides. We have 3 tide cycles to get through. So the exclusive AccuWeather 7-day forecast. We are in the thick of it tomorrow, the blizzard of 2016. But then look at what happens after that. A nice increase with temperatures. Good amount of sunshine by Tuesday and Wednesday. Temperatures will be up in the 40s. I do want to make a quick mention. Check in on your elderly neighbors, maybe offer to shovel their driveway, and also don't forget about the pets.
Thank you, Cecily. We do have